For the longest time, I could not figure out why my projects didn't fit. I measured twice. I made sure that the blade was lined up exactly on top of the pencil line when I made the cut, but still the boards would end up being just a tiny bit too short, or there would be gaps in my joints and then I had to figure out how to fill. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. But it turns out it wasn't me. It is a handful of these small little things that nobody tells you when you start using your miter saw. But once I started doing these 7 things, every single cut came out clean and accurate. And there's one idea in here that some people have never even heard of. But once it clicks, it will make you accurate with any saw, not just the miter saw. So stick around for that one. Number 1, and this one blew my mind early on. The end of every single board you buy is literally garbage. Just watch. I'm going to use a speed square right up against the factory edge, and look at that. It's not square. It never is. So if I grab this board and start cutting by measuring from this end, I'm going to start getting errors in my measurements, and as you go, those errors are going to keep propagating, and everything is off from that first cut itself. So before I do anything, when I start with a new board, I cut off about 1/4 to 1/2 to 1 inch of the board. It depends on how off square it is. It costs me maybe 1 inch or 2 of wood, but it saves me hours of frustration. Oh, and if you are new here, I am Anika, and my whole goal is to demystify DIY and inspire and empower you and show you that you really can build the projects that you dream of, even if you've never touched a power tool. So if that sounds like you, hit that subscribe button and come build with me. And I have a ton of beginner resources that I am going to link in the description below. You might want to get started with the free Power Tools Simplified Guide or the free Essential Tools list. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, number 2 is probably the cheapest upgrade you can make. This is a construction pencil, and look at the line that it leaves. It's almost 1/16 of an inch wide. So when you go to cut, which side of the line are you even aiming for? And that little bit of guesswork on every single cut is why your cuts don't line up. So you can switch to a mechanical pencil, and this one specifically is a cabinet maker's pencil, and it has a really nice sharp tip to it, so I can easily make accurate marks. Or if you want to just use a regular pencil, use a regular pencil, but make sure that it is nice and sharp when you're using it. Keep a sharpener handy so that once it starts to dull, because when you write on wood, wood is really rough surface. As you write on wood, it's going to get blunt very quickly. So have a sharpener handy so you can get that nice sharp tip all the time. Okay, now this is the big one. And once this clicks, it makes you accurate with any saw, not just the miter saw. And that is the kerf. So when you cut into wood, the strip of wood that disappears and turns into sawdust, that is the kerf. And here's why it matters. If you put the blade right on top of your pencil line and cut, you lose about 1/8 of an inch of your good piece, or a fraction of 1/8 of an inch, depending on where you line up with the pencil mark. And that's why your boards keep coming up too short. Now the trick to do this is dead simple. With the saw off, I rest the blade down on the board and line it up so that the teeth fall right next to my line on the waist side of the board. And that is the part that I'm going to be throwing away. Then I lift up the saw, start the saw, and cut. And this is how you're going to get accurate cuts every single time. Now, number 4 is one of my favorites, and it's the secret behind anything that anytime you are making multiple cuts of the same size, like legs for a table or slats for a bench, you need them to match exactly accurately. Now, if you measure and mark every single board separately and cut, No matter how hard you try, no matter how sharp a pencil you use and how you account for kerf, when you cut them separately, you will end up getting very slight differences, especially if you use one board to mark the next board and then make the cut, because then the pencil thickness keeps adding up. And having the slight differences between 4 table legs leads to a wobble. So instead, measure once and then use a stop block to make multiple cuts. Now, the best way to do this is, number one, I measure the board that I need to cut, and then I attach a stop block to the fence by clamping it. Some miter saws come with a built-in clamp, or you can just use a separate clamp, and then I can just make the cut by butting up my board against that stop block every single time. Now, what if the length that you want to cut is longer than what your fence is? How are you going to use a stop block for that? Now, to do that, you can easily extend the miter saw fence by attaching another board to the fence. Now, most miter saws have a spot where you can add some screws to attach in that board. Just make sure that the board is flat and straight. And now you've just extended the miter saw fence, and you can clamp a stop block to that board and start making your cuts. So now there is no remeasuring, no marking, and your cuts come out all identical. And the bonus is that this speeds up the process a lot. So I want to take a quick moment to ask you a question. Be honest with me. How many DIY videos have you watched this week? Because I get so many messages along the lines of, Anika, I have watched every single one of your videos to help me get inspired and finally get the confidence to use my saw. But here's the truth. You cannot watch your way into confidence. You cannot motivate yourself into a skill. The only way to stop being intimidated by tools is to actually turn them on. And the only way to learn how to build is to actually build. You don't need any more information or any more videos or theories. What you need is a tool in your hand and some sawdust on your floor. And that is exactly why I created the Fearless Woodworker. It is not a dry series of lectures. It is a project-based journey where each build is a stepping stone. We start simple with just a saw and a drill and I show you all of the basics so you get confident with the basics. I incrementally add new tools into your arsenal as your confidence grows. And by the time you're done, you'll be confident using a table saw, a router, and so much more. You aren't just watching tutorials. You are mastering woodworking 101 through action. But here's the thing. I know it's not just the fear of tools that's holding you back. It's the fear that, what if I get stuck? Who do I turn to? Who do I ask questions? And this is why in this program, you are not doing it alone. I have a 24/7 community group where you can share your progress and get help whenever you need. Plus, I host live monthly Q&A calls where you can come, ask your questions, get unstuck, and it also keeps you accountable. And the best part, my favorite part, is we create a community. We make friends, we hang out, we talk woodworking. I am going to be with you every step of the way in this program, making sure that you keep moving forward. And by the end of the program, you're going to walk away with not just 5 amazing projects that you just built, but you're going to walk away with a lifetime of skills. You wouldn't have watched a woodworker, you would have become the woodworker. And you will finally be the person that will look at something and say, oh yeah, I can build that. So if you're ready to stop watching from the sidelines and start building, join the Fearless Woodworker. It is the program and community I wish existed when I was starting out. Let's get you in the shop and get those tools running, because I cannot wait to see all the amazing things you build. Now this next one is about both accuracy and safety, because in a miter saw, they both go together. Now, when you've got a long board hanging off of the side of the saw with nothing holding up it sags. Now, if the board isn't sitting level and flat against the table, your cut comes out at a slight angle, even if everything else is perfect. And there's a scarier reason. As you finish the cut, the sagging part of the board is going to drop and the board where you cut it is going to pinch the blade. And because the blade is spinning at a high speed, it can kick it back towards you, which can be super dangerous. So you always want to support the ends of the board. Most miter saw stands have that capability, or you can use roller stands, or if you're using it on a table, you can use some 2x4s or scrap boards to just kind of prop up your boards and support them as you are cutting, so your board stays stable before and after, and most importantly, through the cut. Now, number 6 might really surprise people. That laser line or that shadow line, do not trust it blindly. Lasers can get knocked out of alignment very easily, and then it's very confidently pointing you to the wrong spot. I actually don't even rely on the laser on my miter saw anymore. Instead, I just use my eyes and I push the saw blade up onto the line like I am looking at the kerf, so I can see exactly where the teeth of the blade are falling, and I can make the cut because the blade is never wrong. The laser can be. If you do love your laser or shadow line, that's totally fine. Just make sure to calibrate it and check the calibration very often. I highly recommend doing that every single time you start a project or move your saw. Now, this last one is super duper important, and it really is the foundation of everything else, and nobody really tells you this, but you need to check the alignment of your miter saw very often. It's not just a one-time thing the day you unbox your miter saw. If you're moving your saw around a lot, or you get a good kickback, can easily knock the saw out of alignment. So I highly recommend double checking the alignment every single time. You really need that cut to be accurate. I pretty much check the alignment on my saw every single time I set it up, because my saw lives on a roller stand that I then pull out into my driveway before I make the cuts. And checking the saw for alignment is super duper quick and easy. I just use a combination square to quickly double check the blade and the table and the fence. But if you do want to understand how exactly to align a miter saw, I have a full detailed video about that. So definitely check that out. 60 seconds of checking saves you a ton of time and frustration and pieces that don't fit. And one bonus, because this is the easiest win of all. That blade that came with your miter saw, it's okay for you to make a few beginning cuts with it, but if you are serious about building some good quality projects, I would toss it and replace that with a good quality high tooth count blade. The blades that come with a miter saw, or the kit blades as they are called, are usually really low tooth count, and they give you splintered ends, as well as the cuts look really rough. And then you spend time sanding those off and making them nice and smooth so your projects look good. I highly recommend using at least a 60 tooth count blade in your miter saw. I actually use a 100 tooth count blade, and when I make the cuts, the ends that I get are pretty much like they've been sanded down to 200 grit. They are a little bit more expensive, but I've been using this blade for almost 6 years now. It is amazing what a good quality blade and proper maintenance do. But just remember to double check the alignment when you swap out your blades. Woodworking gets so much more fun when things actually start to fit together the way they should the very first time. And if you are new to all of this, you're still just figuring out what the miter saw is and how to really use it, I have a full walkthrough, a full beginner-friendly walkthrough on how to use a miter saw. So definitely be sure to check that out. And I will see you in the next video.